I'm joined now by the Gauteng MEC for Basic Education and the Deputy Chairperson of the ANC in this province, Panyaza Lesufi, who's in the studio. Good evening, MEC Lesufi. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Good evening, Mark. It's very difficult to get used to that you're on the other side.
It's difficult for me as well, MEC.
Thank you so much.
MEC, thanks for being here. You know, you and I go back quite a long way. We, I think, first encountered each other during the Limpopo textbooks crisis.
It's true.
We've had a relationship that's both conflictual and constructive. And I want to have a constructive discussion this evening.
Thanks.
Before we get into the heart of the discussion, though, I do want to say that, you know, you're highly regarded within Gauteng province.
So
I think your accountability, your accessibility is something that should be emulated by all MECs. And thank you.
I'm truly humbled. Thank you so much.
For that, MEC.
Thank you so much.
But let's talk about some of the real issues and issues that concern people. You know, a few days ago, you and I were both at a summit on, you were the acting premier of Gauteng, and I was in the audience with President Ramaphosa talking about health. And President Ramaphosa admitted in that discussion that there's a crisis in our health system. Do you think there's a crisis in our basic education system, and do you think that we are failing the young people of South Africa?
Let me put it this way, and thank you so much, Mark, for the opportunity. Let me put it this way. Our education system is like an Irish coffee. Black at the bottom, white on top, with sprinkles of chocolate. The black part is the larger portion of our education system, and the white part, it's a minority component of that Irish coffee. We need to steer it to be a South African coffee that does not have race and that is clear.
Now that's
where we are, I can assure you, the need for us to check up black education in particular is very crucial. And I'll share the sentiments that you are raising, that indeed there are elements that are completely unacceptable, but there are elements that are starting to turn the corner to ensure that we've got quality education for everyone.
But MEC, I think we'd all agree with you. The question I ask is, are we doing this quickly enough? If this is a crisis, shouldn't we be treating it like state capture? I mean, let me give you one example. School toilets. There are still 4,000 schools in this country where the toilets are unusable. They're disgusting. They're horrible. What are you doing about it? Why are you not moving fast enough?
And Mark, it's a political and administrative will. When we came in 2014 in Gauteng, the first 100 days were dedicated to rebuild sanitation, water, and electricity. And the leadership, and that's why I'm saying political leadership, the leadership of our Premier, David Makhura, understood the importance that sanitation is dignity. The absence of sanitation is an absence of dignity. So you can check the report that I've just narrated. In Gauteng, it's zilch.
That's right.
Purely because there was both.
MEC, it's
and
thousands of schools.
No, I agree. And I will not be proud that even if we don't have the challenge in Gauteng, I will sleep peacefully at night when I know children in Eastern Cape, children in KZN, children in Limpopo are going through these difficulties. But the good thing, collectively, as a sector, there's now a renewed vigor to say, let's push ahead and deal with these things. The only limitation, Mark, to be quite frank sometimes, is that when we enter into agreements like norms and standards, we do that with the Department of Basic Education and leave out important components. I can give you a practical example. If the entire community does not have access to bulk services of water, electricity, to expect the school to have those services?
No, of course not. But MEC, the Constitution requires what we call cooperative governance.
So
you know, the ANC is the one party that runs all the parts of the government. Why can one arm not talk to another? Why in a municipality or a province can you not say, we are under a duty to build schools. Schools need toilets. Toilets need water, or they need something. So you, Department of Basic Work, Public Works, you do the job. It sounds like excuses, excuses, excuses.
It's not. It's hindsight, to be quite frank. I think we entered into this agreement purely because there was that political will to resolve the thing. But when we went to the implementation of it, and you're right, there's no excuse for that. We have to ensure that our schools are functional. Actually, when I grew up, Even when there was no electricity in my community, the school will have electricity. Even when there was no water in the community, the school will have water. So there's no excuse indeed. We need to find a middle ground of ensuring that institutions that need to support education must come on board and support it. Because you can't say education is an apex priority, is priority number one of the country, but components that need to assist that education system, they're not providing that kind of support.
Is money a problem, MEC? Do you need a bailout for the basic education system, like with ESCOM or SAA or something?
You know, I'm reluctant to say money is a problem, but indeed money is not sufficient. The reality is, you can't, if you check all the 9 departments, including us in Gauteng, you can't say money is a problem, but when you went to their finances at the end of the year, there is a huge under-expenditure or there is a return of funds to, you know, if there was an over-expenditure across the sector, you will say, indeed, money is a problem. I think it's the recruitment of people that need to attend to this kind of challenges. I really believe that you're expecting, for example, a teacher to lead infrastructure rollout. You need engineers, you need quantity surveyors, you need all this. So, hindsight has really brought some ideas. That
when does hindsight end and foresight begin? We're in a bit of a vicious circle here because our basic education system is not producing skilled people. We don't have skilled people coming through government, so we're not able to plan, so we're not able to run our schools, and round we go. How do we break this circle, and how quickly can we break this circle? Because children's lives are at stake.
Mark, I say, did the democratic government post-1994 build a single math school? Surely not. But we're expected to eradicate those math schools. Did this government, consciously and politically, took a decision to build asbestos schools? Surely not. But this government is committed to eradicate those things. The reality is, where we stand, we've got competing challenges. You know, you're in the health sector. You know the state of health. So you can't say all the resources, the energy, the skill, the talent must come to education only. Everyone must not get all these particular resources. It's a shared responsibility. We are moving at a snail's pace. We just need to accelerate. And that's where that I feel. But the administrative, political will to deal with some of these particular issues has received a renewed vigor. Nice. And I'm quite convinced that the children that are going through difficulties now, they must know this government is willing to assist, to eradicate, and give them support.
Thanks, MEC. We need Caster Semenya pace for basic education, not snail's pace, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Stay with us as we continue the conversation after the break. And make sure to use the hashtag LHIO on social media. We'll be back. Thank you.